Do you know someone who is outwardly charming and they're confident, and you may have thought they could be a narcissist? Well, I will say not everyone's a narcissist. The term is thrown around a lot, but there are characteristics that you can look for. And you may have noticed that their personality changes drastically when the mask slips, or that they act different around different people. We all have a public persona that we present to the world, but when the persona slips, we often catch a glimpse of the real person underneath. I can say I don't act the same way at work that I act at home. So, but when the narcissist mask slips, it can be a shocking glimpse into their true nature and their true character and their real habits. So I can clearly say that I didn't know the real person that I was dating. And if I had known, I probably wouldn't have given him a second look. And that is probably when he created the personality that he presented to me. So it was really shocking to know that I had spent that much time with someone who could pretend for such a long time. I only had a glimpse of the mask slip with the person I was dealing with, but I have heard that he's a whole different person at night when I had no idea what he did after he left me in the evening. So evidently, he was going out, partying, to strip clubs, he was drinking, he was smoking, he was drugging, he was on the dating websites, drunk driving, and much, much more. And I'll let your imagination go with that. But he did all these kind of activities when he was out of my view. And I must admit that he should have been nominated for an Academy Award performance. That was an excellent performance. It was. It really, really was. But guys, once you know what to look for, it's not so difficult to spot. And I just want to share that with you. I want to share these characteristics with you so you don't have to go through what I went through. So let's talk about the narcissistic mask slip as well as what you can do about it. So you might know a friend or a family member who seems completely different, a different person when they're around other people. And we've all seen that before. So there could be someone who's kind, someone who's considerate when they're there with you, but later they become really cold and distant around other people. I have noticed that with the person that I dealt with. So when you see those things, you might be witnessing their narcissistic mask slip. And when the mask slip on a narcissist, you see their true personality, which is hidden, but it begins to show itself. And this can happen when the narcissist is under stress or when they are around people that they don't think are important. So they're not going to put on the pretense show for them. They just give them the real self. So while it can be easy to dismiss a mask slip, it's simply a bad mood or, and I've seen that, and that's how I, let it go. Maybe it's in bad mood. But it's important to remember that narcissists, they're often hiding a much darker side. We've all been there. You're talking to someone and suddenly their mask slips. The person that you thought you were talking to suddenly disappears into a narcissistic, self-absorbed individual who only wants to talk about themselves. It can be a jarring experience, but there are ways to spot this narcissistic mask slip before it happens. So let's look at some of the ways and tips that you can look at. So there are some telltale signs that you can tell that someone is about to have a narcissistic mask slip. So let's look at those. They start talking about themselves incessantly. They interrupt you when you're talking. Now, I did have that experience oftentimes. They would just talk right over me when I was talking or interrupt me and not let me get my words out. So they also may belittle you for your accomplishments. And I had that. Like, he never would acknowledge any accomplishment that I had or say, hey, you did a good job on that. Nothing. So they will also take credit for your ideas. And I have since heard that some of my ideas have been taken and created. They'll steal your ideas. So if you see these signs, it is best to steer clear of this kind of person because they are difficult to deal with. And I'll just tell you, it's just best to avoid them if possible. And I would tell you, I would have done the same thing if I knew beforehand. I would have gotten out as quick as possible. For more information on narcissistic personality disorder, please come back and view some more videos in our video series.